Sniping in Battlefield 6 has officially hit a new level, faster, smoother, and deadlier than ever. But not every sniper deserves that top spot in your loadout. So today, I'm breaking down every sniper rifle in Battlefield 6, ranking them from trash tier hit markers all the way to god tier 1-taps. Now, if you're wondering, why should I be listening to a random duck on the internet about this? Well, currently I hold the record for the most sniper kills in a single match, and I also have that record in some other games like BattleBit, and I snipe a ton in other games as well, so my opinion is decent. It might not be the best top tier opinion, but a semi-decent opinion. But like always, if you like what you see, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe. We're going for 50,000 subscribers, but that's enough about that. Let's dive straight into the video. Now the video is broken up in two different sections. The first is the multiplayer list. This is things like your breakthrough, your conquest, other game modes like that. Then the other category is BR or REDSEC. This is the sniper tier list for the BR, the Battle Royale, just so people don't get confused. Now, something to keep note of is that all snipers share perfect precision at 100, but control varies slightly. Now, it's not a huge concern since bolt actions fire slowly anyway. It matters far less than it does on assault rifles, for instance, or SMGs. Now, hipfire stats we don't really care much about either. The only thing in my opinion that truly matters is mobility and handling. Statistically speaking, all of the snipers with all the top tier attachments, the only one that has the fastest ADS speed is going to be the Mini Scout. So statistically, for up close sniping, say 50 meters, the Mini Scout is always going to succeed than the rest. And in my opinion, the Mini Scout for, well, multiplayer sniping for my tier list definitely has to sit on the S tier category, mainly for the fact that if you play the sniper super aggressively, this is the sniper you're going to be wanting to pick. It's very close. It's very good up close, about, again, 50 meters or so. It can one-shot headshot like any other sniper can, so that's realistically what you're going for. Fast ADS, up close and personal, and if you want an aggressive sniper, the Mini Scout is the choice for you. Again, you have to get it through the battle pass, so that is something to keep in mind as well. Moving on, we come to the first sniper you unlock or already have unlocked, and that's the M2010 ESR. And honestly, this sniper is a very well-rounded sniper, actually. It boasts 1,000 milliseconds of muzzle velocity with an extended barrel, and it's barely behind the Mini Scout's 1,100 mils per second. And it has a wide sweet spot range, which makes it dominant on most maps. If you're looking for sniper or a sniper that's medium to long range, that is fairly accurate, does a decent amount of damage, and can hold its own against some SMGs or ARs at medium range, if you want to think about that way, then the M20 ESR is definitely the pick for you. Now, typically, I don't like putting a ton of guns in S category because I don't think doing that is really good, because I think there's definitely negatives and positives to a lot of the guns, but I think the M2010 and the Mini Scout are definitely both sitting in that S tier category, at least for the sniper section, which honestly, if you haven't tried already, level up to M2010, at least try to get that extended barrel, and honestly, you'll be surprised just how insane it actually is. The only thing you miss out on the M2010 in comparison to some of the other snipers is the magazine capacity, but honestly, it's not the biggest thing in the world. 5 bullets is enough to really get the job done. Moving on, we come to the SV98. Now, the SV98 is one of those snipers that it's iconic. I used to love it back in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, probably one of my favorite snipers out of most of them, besides the Gold Magnum, of course, the Gold Magnum being my favorite, but the SV98 is still a very solid sniper, even all the way in Battlefield 6. Now, what makes the SV98 stand out in comparison to some of its counterparts is that the SV98 excels at the medium range, like brawls, for instance. It's one of those snipers that is more specialized. For example, you have the M2010 ESR, which is a well-rounded sniper, like I've been saying. Then you have the SV98, which is better suited for that medium range. It has a defined role per se. The SV98 excels in, I guess, that 50 to 80 meter range. It can one-shot in that range and is still a fairly solid option if you're just looking to do some up-close sniping. But again, I think the Mini Scout for up-close is definitely the best option. But for maps Siege of Cairo, for instance, if you want to snipe on Siege of Cairo, the SV98 or Mini Scout are the weapons I would be leaning for. I don't think they are a standout because they are more specialized in comparison. Again, the M2010 is more well-rounded, SV98 more situational, so I think it has to be, I guess, the A tier. I think that's perfectly fine. Then we come to the PSR, one of the most annoying snipers to get in any of the franchises. Look, it's not the fact, I know they changed it, it's not the fact that it was, you know, was it 150 headshots at 200 meters? It's not that that was hard. It's mainly for the fact that the people have to be at 200 meters. If they're at like 199, you have to wait till they move to 200. It's whatever. The sniper is still pretty solid. But with that being said, what is the PSR? What do we think of it? Personally, I really like the sniper. I think it is a very solid sniper. I play it super aggressively, even though you're not supposed to, because that's just my personal playstyle. With that being said, I don't think it's as good as any of the other snipers on the list, actually. I think it's actually lower on the list for a couple reasons. Like I said, the SV98 is specialized at medium range. The PSR, for instance, is specialized at long range. With a built-in 10x scope right away, this sniper is meant for long range. There's only a few super long range maps depending on what game mode you're playing. For instance, if you're playing Breakthrough, the only super long range maps are going to be Operation Firestorm and the Snow map. I can't remember off the top of my head, and some Marker Valley, but again, you have to play very far away for the PSR to be super effective. If you're playing some of the other maps, like Siege of Cairo, for instance, it's probably not in your best interest to be using the PSR since the engagement lanes are so close. That's why I don't think the PSR is a super high contender. I think it's probably going to be the lowest on my tier list for the multiplayer side, from my personal experience. Again, everything is in my own opinion, and in your opinion, it could be your favorite sniper. That's perfectly fine. That's the point of tier list. It's an opinion-based tier list. But those are my opinions. Hopefully they add some more snipers throughout the season. I love snipers, of course, but we shall see. Another thing, I'm a sniper at heart. However, I don't think sweet spots should be in this game. I think it should only be headshot, one shot. Otherwise, it should be a hit marker. That's a hot take. That's just my preference. Now we come into the later half of the video. Let's talk about REDSEC or the Battle Royale. So let's talk about the REDSEC BR or the Battle Royale, whatever you want to call it. So let's talk about our first sniper for the Battle Royale. And again, that's the mini scout, whatever you want to call it. The pocket sniper, as I like to refer to it as. I don't think the sniper for REDSEC is particularly good. Yes, it can get the job done, but from what I've played and what a lot of other people I've played with, most engagements are too far for the mini scout to have a ton of impact. So my personal opinion, I think I'm ranking the mini scouts towards the very bottom, about F tier category for the REDSEC. It's not because the sniper doesn't do any damage or it's not good. No, it's because of the engagement distance of the Battle Royale. Most engagement distance are way beyond the capabilities of the mini scout. That, of course, unless you upgrade it with the weapon upgrades or you have the Mini 14 unlocked already and you customize it. Yes, that is a certain issue. You can do all of that. But for the most part, just plain picking it up from the ground, it's not going to excel really well. You'll probably get beamed across the map by a KTS or by any other sniper or DMR in the game. So I honestly would stay away from the mini scout and try to pick up something else. Then let's talk about the M2010 ESR, the well-rounded sniper that I've been referring to. So in the Battle Royale, I think it's a fine sniper. I think it's decent. I think it's suited for a lot of different ranges. Usually the ranges that I'm talking about is, I don't know, the 70 or 80 meters to about 150. These are ranges that are optimal for the M2010, and depending on how you play REDSEC, depending on what your playstyle is, it is a very solid sniper. I think for my personal opinion, it sits around the A tier category. I think it's a very good sniper. If you want to play REDSEC, definitely kit it out, definitely recommend that. It can definitely hold its own against other snipers in the category. I still think it's way better than the mini scout if you're playing REDSEC. If you're playing multiplayer, then my opinion might change. But for REDSEC, M2010 sits, in my personal opinion, around the A tier category. I say my personal opinion a lot. Welcome to the channel, that's what I say. Moving on, we come to the SV98. And surprisingly, I haven't seen this sniper a lot. I think it's a very good sniper in multiplayer, but in terms of REDSEC, I haven't really seen it play. It holds its own, it does decent, but typically you're going for more damage in REDSEC, at least in my opinion, because you want to the armors as fast as possible and do as much damage as possible. So the SV98, for the most part, is not the best option in comparison to some of its counterparts. I will say it is a good contender, maybe B tier category, but I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's the best. So I think for trying to pick up a sniper, I would stay away from the SV98, at least for REDSEC, in my personal opinion. Then we come to the PSR, probably my favorite sniper in REDSEC. I think it is the best rounded sniper for that specific game mode, mainly to the fact of what the engagement distances are. I think the engagement distances for REDSEC is about 150 meters and beyond. And you know what sniper excels at those distances? Well, it's the PSR. So if you're playing REDSEC, PSR is definitely a must. If you're a sniper, of course, in REDSEC, you don't have to snipe, but if you're looking for a sniper to pick up for REDSEC, PSR is a must. So go ahead and grind it out and unlock it. I have a guide of how I unlocked it so you can follow my footsteps. And honestly, I would place it in the S tier category. Of course, you have to build it right, but that's just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, let me give you some tips and tricks about what type of attachments you want to be thinking about. Now, people come to my Twitch chat all the time, so make sure to check out my Twitch of what attachments should you use on the sniper. Now, in my personal opinion, the first attachment you will always need, no matter what gun, whether it's a sniper, an AR, SMG, LMG, even a pistol for peak's sake, is a suppressor. A suppressor, silencer, whatever you want to call it, is essential for staying off the radar and avoiding the red diamond spotting or the 3D spotting where people can see you through the walls and on top of the map from everywhere. To avoid that, use a suppressor. In terms of what sniper scopes you want to be using, typically I look for 6, 8x, and 4x. For 4x, it's always going to be the ACOG, simple and clean and sleek. Very nice on pretty much every single sniper. If you like close quarters sniping, ACOG typically the way to go. Then for your 6x, usually I go for the SSDS. It's the cleanest one. The other one looks horrendous. It looks horrible, very bad. Same thing with the 8x. You want to use the LERT. The other one is horrible. It's too cluttered. It looks like, I don't know, my 3-year-old niece drew it. It looks terrible. Then you always want to opt for an extended barrel. It buffs both ADS speed and muzzle velocity, so it's always definitely worth it. Now, for me personally, I don't like bipods, mainly for the fact that there's sniper glints in this game. If you stand still and shoot, pretty easy to hit you as a target. You're standing still with a giant beacon coming out of you, and with the bipod, you're even more immobile to make a shot. So trade it out for an angle or a stubby grip where you get faster ADS time. I think the rangefinder is a must-have for consistent long-range sniping, and of course you want to bind it to a key for instant zeroing. Typically you bind it to the key of your primary attack so that when you shoot, it also instant zeros. That's in the game. It's stupid. It shouldn't be in the game. Am I going to abuse it? Should you abuse it? Yes, because it's way too overpowered. Everybody does it, so just double bind it. I don't think lasers for a sniper are ever worth it. Yes, it does give you some hip fire, some moderate mobility, but it also does make you a giant beacon because everybody can see the green or the red. Now, the anti-glare is a hit or miss. Is it good? Is it bad? It's alright. Personally, I don't use it because I'm pretty confident in my shots that I can quickly bring up my ADS, shoot, and get off of my ADS. You typically only use the anti-glare if you're one of those snipers that just likes to ADS all the time. If you're ADSing all the time, then use anti-glare, but you shouldn't really be ADSing all the time, at least in my personal opinion. You should be absorbing what's happening around you at all times and staying in the ADS. Definitely not the way to do that. So you could trade out the anti-glare and actually go for the ADS bolt, which I prefer. I think the ADS bolt is probably an essential with the rangefinder. It's one of those that are just way too essential. And I can show you one build later on of the PSR that I personally use that I love a ton. But those are some of my attachment recommendations, tips, whatever you want to call them. Now let me just give you a quick example of how I built my PSR and why I think it's probably the better option of other builds in my personal opinion. It's a personal preference thing. I enjoy the ADS bolt. It's really nice to get follow-up shots. I use the standard ammo. You could use long range if you wanted to because it reduces the drag. Now, It doesn't change anything down here, any of the statistics, but it does feel different. It does change how it works. For your magazine, 10 is fine. You don't really need anything else. You could go for 7 and it'll give you increased mobility, which is definitely a thing. I think 10 is perfectly fine though. For our grip, I'm actually running the angled because that's all I can afford, but I think the angled is better. Then yes, if you change some of them, maybe you get better stats, but I think the angled is pretty much the perfect choice. You have better ADS speed. Yes, you have some accuracy while moving. Typically, you ADS, stop for a second, shoot, then keep moving, so it doesn't really matter. Now, of course, we're going to be using a rangefinder there. There's no reason not to. Rangefinder is a must for every single sniper in the game. For our barrel, I'm actually using the basic. You could use the extended for higher velocity if you so desire. But I think 720 is perfectly fine. Maybe if you're playing REDSEC, you could opt for the extended, which is debatable, but I think basic is fine. Then of course we're using a suppressor, just a normal suppressor. Don't need anything too fancy. Nothing really changes it too much, so normal suppressor it is. We don't use any top accessories, whatever you want to call it, because the lasers make you a giant beacon. You're already a big beacon enough with not having anti-glare. The second you put on a laser, if you trade it out for something, you become an even bigger beacon, so not worth it in my opinion. This is my preferred PSR build. Definitely, I think it's probably the better build. Like I said, you could change the ADS bolts and you could go for the anti-glare if you want to. Either or is fine. This is typically what I use. Then go to your settings. You're gonna go to mouse and keyboard, infantry, passenger, keybinds. You're gonna scroll down till you see rangefinder zeroing if zoomed. Set this to your primary fire on the secondary slot, whether it's a left mouse click or right trigger, whatever it might be. Having it set to here, your secondary one, is the best option because the second you shoot, it will be instantly zeroed. So if I go to the practice range, for instance, you can see it's at 100. I shoot, it goes instantly to 114. The second you shoot, it instantly changes. So there's no reason why to have it on right click or left trigger or have it on shift or have it on one of the analog stick press downs. Having it bound to your primary fire is definitely always going to be the better option because it's going to instantly kick in, instantly get you that zero. And that's typically what you have to do. Mainly, I don't like it. It shouldn't be in the game. But because everybody pretty much uses it, you might as well use it as well. It's too good not to use, so having it is definitely the best option.